And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. As I tell you all the time, the chaos, it's not going to stop. It's just getting worse, which is why I'm telling you, subscribe, watch, comment, and share with your friends, because this community is growing. And we're growing really quickly thanks to you. We're also growing quickly because there's a lot to talk about. For example, in the last few days, President Trump has been posting, like at 6 a.m. in the morning, these sort of nonsensical rants on his Truth Social platform. And while that's concerning on its own, 6 a.m. and some of the things that are being said, it's really the content of the posts that should be even more worrisome to you. That's why I tell you, make sure you subscribe and share. This morning, just this morning alone, he called for a Washington Post columnist to be fired. Imagine that. President of the United States says Eugene Robinson of the Washington Post is incompetent. So sad to see him trying to justify the waste, fraud, and corruption at USAID with his pathetic radical left spin. He should be fired immediately. Now, to those of you who watch MSNBC, obviously Morning Joe, Eugene Robinson is a regular on that show. But is it right that the President of the United States should be calling for the firing of a journalist simply because you don't like the position that he stands with? He also posted this rant about USAID. And in it, it says, USAID is driving the radical left crazy, and there is nothing they can do about it because the way in which the money has been spent, so much of it fraudulently, is totally unexplainable. The corruption is at levels rarely seen before. Close it down. Well, again, I'm not really sure what he's referring to. Here's an idea. Instead of posting these rants, instead of posting these requests for firings and explaining that there's fraud and corruption at levels never seen before, maybe he's right. Maybe he's right. Maybe the fraud, the corruption is enormous, like never ever seen before in this country. Show us. Show us. As a former litigator, as a lawyer, one of the things that is proof positive is something called documentary evidence. Put the paper in front of the American people. Show me the fraud. Show me the corruption. I, like you, President Trump, I want to be furious over the fraud, the corruption, the waste, the abuse of our tax dollars. Just show it to me. See, what you want is you want everybody just to believe what it is that you and others are saying without demonstrating, without showing any of the documentary evidence. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Your word just may not be enough for everyone. All right? Now, the other day, Trump posted this rant about CBS. Remember, he's in a lawsuit for $10 billion against CBS and 60 Minutes. A reminder, the Harris interview. And it all, remember, it had to do with his allegations that the Harris interview was prejudicial, that they had given her all the questions. It was a setup, blah, blah, blah. But I do want to remind you that that interview happened back in October. Here's what it said. It said, CBS and 60 Minutes defrauded the public by doing something which has never, to this extent, been seen before. They 100% removed Kamala's horrible election-changing answers to questions and replaced them with completely different and far better answers taken from another part of the interview. This was election-changing stuff, election interference, and quite simply, election fraud at a level never seen before. Seems like everything has never been seen before. CBS should lose its license, and the cheaters at 60 Minutes should all be thrown out. And this disreputable news show should be immediately terminated. With the new Democrat scandal that just arose with respect to USAID illegally paying large sums of money to Politico and other media outlets, the question must be asked: was CBS paid for committing this fraud? Many other questions to come. This will come down as the biggest broadcasting scandal in history. Now, I want to begin by saying that there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of disinformation, a lot of malinformation in that post. First and foremost, we don't know if any of that is true. Once again, we are being asked to rely upon one individual statement. Why not put the documentary evidence out there? You have that ability as President of the United States. If you seem to have the knowledge, you must have seen the documents that purport to prove the post that you are putting out there. See, once again, something has never been seen before. Okay, you got my interest, pal. No problem. Show me the money. Show me the money. Show me the documents. Give me the documentary evidence. Let me make the determination. And by the way, Mr. President, if by chance you happen to be right with that, boy, will I go nuts on all my social media platforms. Because I'm with you on that. If they're changing stuff and that they're I don't know, messing around with the 60 Minutes interviews or with with campaign questions and so on for a televised debate, yeah, I got a problem with that. I most certainly do. Now, I think Trump is referring again to the Fox News clip from Jesse Waters' show where they discuss Harris's full interview. I don't think that there's documentary evidence. I think, again, he's basing it off of Jesse Waters. Play the clip.
We got our hands on the raw footage of Kamala Harris's 60 Minutes interview. Last October, in the heat of the election, Harris, Hail Mary with CBS. But the network was caught deceptively editing this answer. Watch.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening. The Wall Street Journal said that that your administration has repeatedly been blindsided by Netanyahu. And in fact, he has rebuffed just about all of your administration's entreaties.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region. And we're not going to stop doing that. We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Trump sued CBS for $10 billion, and it looks like they might settle. But before that happens, the FCC released the full interview, unedited, and we have the tape. They talked for an hour and left a lot out.
Okay, let me be clear, Jesse. And you know this to be true. I have myself sat for interviews for 1 hour, for an hour, and they edit down for 15 minutes for a segment. What you're looking for may not be what the producers of 60 Minutes thought the American people would want to see. Remember, just like The Apprentice, just like your show, they too are going for ratings. So they're putting out content that they think is most interesting to the American people. The two questions that were asked of Kamala are not the same questions. They have the right to edit. You do the same as well. Fox does it all the time. So I'm glad that you, as the judge, the jury, and the executioner, believe that CBS is going to settle. Let's see what happens. unless, of course, you have the crystal ball. Now, I want to show you what Jake Tapper said as an interviewer. Play the clip.
Broadcasters have a right to edit interviews. It's editorial judgment. For example, Fox in June 2024 aired this.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
But that wasn't Trump's actual whole answer. It was a taped interview. And as Semaphore noted at the time, Mr. Trump, in the full, unedited version, sounded a lot less definitive about releasing the Epstein files. Here's the whole answer.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know it. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would, or at least...
Do you think that would restore trust? Help restore trust?
Yeah, I don't know about Epstein so much as I do the others. Certainly about the way he died. It would be interesting to find out what happened there, because that was a weird situation, and the cameras didn't happen to be working, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I'd go a long way toward that one.
Quite different, right? Now look, Fox had every right to make that edit. Now, did that edit make Trump look more decisive, less equivocating? Did it make Trump, therefore, look better? Yep. Was that why Fox did it? I have no idea. Maybe they just had some timing issues. Either way, it's Fox's right to do it, just as it was Fox's right to do it when they had Trump's surprise visit to a Bronx barber shop on air, which they also cut down significantly and, coincidentally or not, flatteringly, Fox had the right to do it. And not just because cable and broadcast networks have different rules. Now, the 60 Minutes editing case would almost certainly fail spectacularly in court.
Of course it's going to fail. I also want to show you Trump's post about Gaza. It's really important. In it, they turn around and they say, the Gaza Strip would be turned over to the United States by Israel at the conclusion of fighting. Well, at least now we're getting an idea when. The Palestinians, people like Chuck Schumer's not Palestinian, would have already been resettled in far safer and more beautiful communities with new and modern homes in the region. They would actually have a chance to be happy, safe, and free. The U.S., working with great development teams from all over the world, would slowly and carefully begin the construction of what would become one of the greatest and most spectacular developments of its kind on Earth. No soldiers by the United States would be needed. Stability for the region would reign. You know, let me turn around and say that this is a very dangerous sort of post. All right? It's a very dangerous post because none of it is predicated on fact. First of all, they're not Palestinians, they're Gazans. All right? Maybe they are of Palestinian birth, but anybody that lives in Gaza, because they have non-Palestinians that live in the Gaza Strip as well. There are Jews that were living in the Gaza Strip. They're not Palestinian. They're Gazans. And the fact that you're going to say it could be the most beautiful thing. It's 170 square miles. It's twice the size of DC. So you're going to need not just a lot of construction teams, you need a lot of money. And I would like to know where that's going to come from. I don't know. I want to end on a clip of Trump from the National Prayer Breakfast yesterday, where he went on this sort of, rant again about water in California. I mean, the way he's expressing himself, it's almost as if he believes that he's God, that he has the ability to turn the water on or off. Play the clip.
Because the environmentalists didn't want water. They still don't want it. If they had their choice, they don't want it. I said, are you crazy? And I'm sure you've seen it. The water comes down from the northwest parts of Canada, I guess, but the Pacific Northwest. And it comes down by millions and millions of barrels a day. And I opened it up. It wasn't that easy to do, but I opened it up and it's pouring down and it's a beautiful thing. And it should have happened. I told them to do it in my last term. They didn't do it, but now we just did it. They didn't want to do it, but we did it.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what he did. Let me also turn around and just remind you that the water that he's referring to, the reservoir, has no effect upon the Palisades or Los Angeles. It goes to a totally different area, totally different region. And there is no spigot that you send the military to just crank and turn on that would make the water flow. It's just not how it works. But then again, let's start holding Trump and others to facts. And that's what you're going to get here. And as always, thanks for listening. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.